This is our second paper presentation for this event. Our topic is the influence of leadership communication competency on teachers' job satisfaction in Chinese independent high school. And for this, we have Mr. Juan Yie and Dr. Kok Shiong Poh as presenters. They are the lecturers in communication studies in the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences at the Universiti Tunku Abdul Rahman, UTAR. Please, the floor is yours. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm Juan Yie. My research begins with a simple truth. Leadership is communication. And how do we say or what we say is not just only convey message or information, but actually it also bring a big impact on the teacher's entire world of work. Today, with my collaborator, we will bring you our study titled The Influence of Leadership Communication, Competency and Teachers' Job Satisfaction on Chinese independent schools with moderating role and communication satisfaction. Here's the agenda. I'll begin with the background study, the problem statement, research model, methodology, and in the second half, my partner will present the result, discussing the findings and conclusions. Okay, let's start. Why this study was conducted? According to Lee et al., 2024, right, over recent decades, teacher job satisfaction has declined worldwide due to heavy workloads, emotional burnout, and also growing administrative demands, leading to higher attrition and also lower teaching quality. As noted by Tian et al. 2021, in Malaysia, Chinese independent high school holds a special role as a community-funded institution that preserves Chinese language and also the culture. Yet many now struggle with leadership quality and also teacher retention. So from here, our study focused leadership communication competency because we believe that leadership is fundamentally enacted through communication, as defined by Heckman and Johnson 2018. According to Hayder 2022, when leaders explain goals clearly, provide constructive feedback, and also build trust, this will naturally strengthen teachers' morale and commitment, and thus increases the satisfaction. In contrast, communication breakdowns will create misunderstanding and also demotivation, and this will harm the job satisfaction. So our study asked three key questions. The first one, how does the leadership communication competence directly influence teachers' job satisfaction? The second, what is the direct effect of communication satisfaction on teacher job satisfaction? And last one, does communication satisfaction moderate this relationship? Past studies like Zhang et al. 2022 and Ulutuk Teifan 2019, actually most of this research, right, examine leadership styles like transformational and instructional leadership, but very less that they focus communication as a whole. So it's always treated as only one part of the leadership. This study therefore focuses on leadership communication competency, where a leader's skill in explaining ideas, giving helpful feedback, building trust is a crucial determinant. Research by Ronnie et al. 2023 shows that effective communication improves satisfaction, motivation, and also commitment. However, according to Young 2023, most evidence comes from Western or public school settings, and it is less known about how this works in Chinese independent high school. According to Shi et al. 2020, this school values the respect for authority and social harmony. So communication in Chinese independent high school is both practical and relational because it affects how people feel and how they work together. We also examine the communication satisfaction, how well the school communication climate can meet teachers' informational and also emotional needs. Logically, a positive climate should make leadership communication more effective, while a poor climate may weaken its impact. This study tests all these ideas in the Chinese independent high school setting. Now let me explain a bit about Chinese independent high school. Based on the research by Cho and all 2020, these schools are all community-funded schools. They are all established to preserve Chinese language and culture in Malaysia. Each school is managed independently, so the leadership and the administration differ greatly. Their governance also structure the parallels that from of a family-based organization and also Confucian values, where relationship, trust, communication also play the central roles in maintaining cohesion. Many principles in CIHS lead in a top-down way, while teachers often face heavy workloads, limited training, little management support. According to the research by Tian et al. 2021, this school also faced teacher shortage and difficulty in recruiting experienced principal. And this because of this, it makes communication and teamwork even harder. Operating in such a unique country, Malaysia, pluralistic society, Chinese independent high school must balance the traditional Chinese value with multicultural realities. Cultural traits such as authority, collectivism, and face sensitivity shape how communication is expressed and received. Principals are always seen as a moral figure, and teachers try to maintain social harmony, meaning that the tone and also the intent of a message of a leader can matter as much as it is what is said. In such content, communication is not just information sharing, but it is also daily necessity and also a key to school sustainability. So from there, we can see actually very little empirical work, okay, has examined how leadership communication competency affect teachers' job satisfaction in Chinese schools, and also how the communication satisfaction can moderate this link. So according to Tian et al. 2021, right, most of the research also use Western frameworks that may not fit well in Chinese independent high school with this high power distance and also confusion values of environment. This study fill the gaps by analyzing the leader's communication competence, communication satisfaction, and also teacher job satisfaction in a very unique cultural sensitive approach in Chinese independent high school. Here's the research model that guides our study. So from here, we can see that from the previous study by Ronnie et al. 2023 and Mickelson et al. 2015, right? We can see that leaders' communication competence enhances subordinates' trust, motivation, and also job satisfaction. So in the school context, effective principal-teacher communication, right, actually reduce the ambiguity and able to promote collegiality, leading to greater teacher satisfaction. So therefore, we hypothesize that leadership communication competence is positively influenced to teachers' job satisfaction. And also the research from Matlock 2007 also have a positive relationship between the supervisor communication competence and also communication satisfaction in the context of US employees, and also a research from Ulutuk Tayfun 2019 in the context of private security in Turkey. So from here, we can hypothesize that leadership communication competence actually positively influence communication satisfaction. And last, past studies also across various contexts like healthcare, business, educational settings, okay, by Hua and Oma 2016 and also Bidaya 2021, right, also demonstrate positive relationship between communication satisfaction and also job satisfaction. All of these findings, right, it says that when communication is open and also accurate and also supportive from the leader, the employees will experience higher satisfaction. Therefore, it is proposed that communication satisfaction positively influence teachers' job satisfaction. And last, we are putting this hypothesis 4, which is the moderating role of communication satisfaction. From the past studies, right, from Mera Nicholson 2019 and Kaya et al. 2024, right, it suggests that contextual and psychological factors actually can moderate communication satisfaction relationship, and it strengthens the effect under certain conditions. That's why we propose communication satisfactions as a moderating role between leadership communication competence and teachers' job satisfaction. Come to the research design. We apply this quantitative survey design. We survey 199 full-time teachers from 9 Chinese independent high schools in Perak. Why we choose Perak, this state? Because it is the highest number of Chinese independent school in Perak in West Malaysia. And it shares the similar cultural and also the administrative characteristic. So it's making it ideal for our study in our context. And we selected it through the simple random sampling to ensure that every teacher also had an equal chance for the to participate in the question A and to enhance the generalizability. The bilingual questionnaire, English-Chinese, was distributed online after obtaining the ethical approval and also the school consent. Most of the respondents are from the age of 20 to 39 years. And we have included these three measurements of skills. The first one is communicator competence skills with 12 items by Monji et al. 1982. And communication satisfaction inventory with 16 items by Hatch 1978. And also short index of job satisfaction by Bradfield and Roder 1951. All of the items used above use a 5-point Likert scale from 1 strongly disagree and 5 strongly agree. That's all for my part. I will continue sharing the slides while my partner present the parts of the findings and conclusion. Okay, over to you, Pong.
All right, thank you very much, Kelvin, and thanks, MC Sanjana. I will continue with the findings. Kelvin, can you go to the next? Yes. So as Kelvin mentioned, these studies is employ a quantitative method, and we have about 199 respondents. So from in terms of genders, females teacher outnumbers, and in terms of age, about half from the range of 30 and 39, and majority of the teachers, they hold the degree, they are degree holder. Next, Kelvin. Next slide. All right. So in terms of finding, hypothesis 1, hypothesis 2, and hypothesis 3 were supported. However, hypothesis 4 were rejected. All right. So as we are using PLS SEM, these the constructs that involved in these research models were all reflective. And then for the first stage, we are examining the measurement models, and the validities and reliabilities were all checked. For instance, the outer loadings are all between 0.5 and also 0.8. As for composite reliability and Kobayashi alpha, all were above 0.75. And then the AVE were all above 0.5. And then the HTMT, the discriminant validity were all less than 0.85. And then the VIF, yeah, the variance inflation factors were all less than 3.3. So in terms of structural models, as you can see, the R squared, that means the communication competence contributes about 84.2% on the communication satisfaction. And then the R squared for job satisfaction is about 65.3. So as I mentioned earlier, it is said that, these communication satisfactions did not actually weaken or strengthens the relationship between communications competence and also job satisfaction. All right, so let's go to next, Kelvin. Okay, next slide. Right. So as mentioned, just now the conclusion. Yeah. So as these studies examined the relationship between communication competence, communication satisfaction, and also job satisfactions, it shows that the effective leaders or effective principals need to communicate efficiently to inspire and align teachers towards achieving the school visions and also missions, because that is for the good or for a school to grow. So the communications play an important role here, because the clear and consistent communications ensure that the education goal are understood, and the message, the feedback are shared, the exchanges of messages between the school principal and also the school teachers are clear, and they can work, together to improve the school communication climate. All right. In terms of theoretical contribution, all right. So it further enhances or confirms that on this social exchange theory. So we are now using it in the communication context, all right? So where this communication competence and also job satisfaction and communication satisfaction serve as the exchange between the school principals and also the school teachers. And of course, it's also contribute to the communication satisfaction model, especially when this model is used in the education industry or education sectors. So in the past, there are limited studies actually using communication satisfactions in the school environments. In terms of practical implications, we try to suggest the school to increase the job satisfaction so that we can retain the school teachers. Because as early on, Kevin mentioned that this Chinese independent school, they are very difficult to retain and also they are very difficult to recruit the experienced school principal. All right. And then we also suggest that the school, all the Chinese independent school to have the training for the school principals or the principal to be, so that they are able to communicate clearly and also they are able to have the efficient communication with all the teachers. All right. I think that's all from our presentation. Thank you very much, and we welcome question or improvement.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pond. It was a very timely presentation research because majority of us are educators and we can understand that part of teachers' dissatisfaction in teaching. So I would like to know that as I'm from Bangladesh and I'm studying in Malaysia, so I'm trying to understand both perspective. So high school is a place where teachers, teachers are important in every aspect, primary, high school, or even higher ed. But in Bangladesh, what happens that usually those who do not want to go to any industrial job or want a more easy workplace, they go for teaching, especially in primary or high school. And in that case, it's very difficult for us to understand the educators' dissatisfaction. Is it similar in Malaysia and China as well? The situation?
Kevin, you want to answer? Or you want me to answer?
Either of you.
Maybe I say my point of view first, then Dr. Pong, you can follow that. Um, Actually, because I'm 14 years already in Chinese Independent High School,
Ah,
so I work as a subject teacher and also a classroom teacher in in this Chinese secondary high school. So actually, more or less, I think um, in um, in the secondary high schools, right, that is very different because Chinese high school background is different from the government school settings.
okay.
So the teacher satisfactions, right, may be very different where from the government school settings because it is more traditional and it is more rooted in the culture of the Chinese community. And in this context, right, the satisfactions can be vary because the stakeholders are vary as well. And and as you might want to know that Chinese Independent High School is schools that is governed by board and also principal. It is not by the government. So the satisfactions may be varied from the different areas of the context. Mm. Okay.
Thank you so
Tom, you
much.
have anything to add?
Right. This for my own knowledge. So from my knowledge, yeah. Right. So when you ask Sanjana is asking about when they have no choice then only they go to become the teachers. I think in Malaysia they are more or less the same because from the news that I have read so far, some of them, let's say they are studying, something that is not related to education, or maybe they are not trained in education, and eventually because they couldn't find job, and then they choose, to go to become as a teacher. So that is also the scenario in the past few years that I have observed that happened in Malaysia. And there are also teachers where they opt, for early retirement because of documentations that they have to fill in. And this is in the overall pictures of educations in Malaysia. But for Calvin case, it's a bit different because as he has already mentioned that the school, the Chinese independent school, is governed or managed independently. Yes, the situations might be a bit different.
The situation will be different for government schools and Chinese high
Yes.
schools.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you ever, did you try to replicate this same research for higher education in Malaysia as well, or this is only for high school? Your same
That,
framework.
That is a
Maybe,
good suggestion. Then
yeah,
yeah.
perhaps we can.
we'll do it in the
I
future.
also want to try it out in Bangladesh higher ed as well as in high schools. But what we face that this dissatisfaction, I would like to really test it out whether or not our satisfaction level changes. I am a very passionate educator, very, very passionate. But every once in a while, I lose all my hope and I give up and I say, okay, this is it for me. I am no longer teaching. I'm done with teaching. Then after a few days, again, I put myself up and then I go for it. When I started, I really enjoy, but then this dissatisfaction, all the reasons that you mentioned, that these are very much true even for our context. And I really tested out that if this research can actually help to change this satisfaction level. Thank you so much, Dr.
Yes.
Pong and Mr.
Thank you
Chen.
very much.
Okay,
Do
thank you
we
very
have
much.
any other question from the
Yes.
audience?
Can I ask one,
Yes,
Sanjana?
please. Yes.
First of all, gentlemen, congratulations. That was an enjoyable presentation, and of course, some great research. I want to sort of throw a curveball at you, if I may. I lived in Malaysia. I've lived here 20 plus years, so I'm quite familiar with the education system. The last 3 weeks, we've had some incredibly disturbing events that have happened primarily at government schools. And I do appreciate the difference between Chinese education and national schools. But I'm just wondering how you think the recent events that are happening and the current debates on how schools should operate and so forth are going to actually extend to teachers in Chinese high schools and impact their own level of satisfaction. And I've got to say, I've taught high school before. I have full respect for anybody who dares to walk through those corridors. I
Really?
cannot do it.
True. Yes,
But
I cannot do
I
it.
am I am curious whether you think the debates that are happening at the moment are going to have an influence on the teachers that you are researching in your community of interest.
All right. So maybe I go with I go first, Kelvin, on this. If you have anything to add in. So first and foremost, I could like to suggest, those policy makers, for instance, the education's minister should come from the education background, or at least they are well trained. They know everything about education. I think that is very important because when they come out with the policies, they know what how teachers look like, the daily routines or the responsibilities of the teachers. So in that sense, only they can craft or develop a proper policy to hinders all the cases that actually happenings in Malaysia. Right. So that is from my point of view.
If I can just respond to that, thank you. Absolutely. I fully agree with you. We need to have leadership that understands what everybody is going through and not just nicely placed for whatever reason. So thank you for having the balls to say that. I know a lot of Malaysians wouldn't. So it's refreshing. Thank you.
Thank you.